Hello, welcome to the Shelf Examination Podcast, where we examine items found on the shelf of our local library.
I'm Joe, the Makerspace guy in southern Utah.
And I'm Sarah, the reference librarian here at the Hurricane branch of the Southern Utah Libraries.
So this week, let's see, has anything interesting happened this week? I feel like we're in a groove.
We are. Hurricane had their homecoming recently.
Okay.
And so we got inundated with the youths while they were waiting for the game. So that was exciting. They discovered that we have board games you can play here, and we have video games you can play here. And
Now, you don't have the video games set up all the time.
No,
you
no.
have to set them up for them.
We'll set them up because we've got different TVs they can use.
I mean, personally, I'm all for the idea of like an arcade room in a library.
That would be so cool.
But
yeah, we have everything from an original NES to SNES to PlayStation 1
I know
and
you
2.
got a Wii as well.
We do have we have two, actually. Yeah. The best thing is all except for one of our Wiis, everything we have has been donated.
Yeah.
We have hundreds of games, and people can just use. They can't take it home with them. They have to use it here. But then they discovered that there was more than just books to do at the library. So now every afternoon, suddenly we're cool.
We got a movie to talk about this week. So last week we reported that we were going to watch
Godzilla. The new Godzilla monster universe.
The beginning of the MonsterVerse Godzilla.
But we forgot one.
Well, there were two that weren't on my spreadsheet, but are definitely in our collection. Yes. And the first one we're going to be reviewing today. We're going to forget about what we said last time. We'll do Godzilla next time.
Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Peter Jackson's King Kong from 2005. What do we want to call this? Jack Black's King Kong.
Jack Black's King Kong. Yeah.
But this is.
But it was long.
A remake. Okay. Yeah. This was a remake of the original King Kong. Now, here's what's interesting. Not 2 weeks ago, my adult son, wanted an opportunity to watch the original King Kong.
Very cool.
He apparently does not ever remember having watched it. I got to sit down and rewatch the original 1933 King Kong with him. And I tell you what, it still holds up.
Yeah, it does.
It was
great.
A very good movie. He enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it with him. We had a great time. No complaints, no notes. And then I watched this movie.
You watched it today.
Now, what's funny, I did just watch it today. But what's funny is he had seen this movie before. And watching the original King Kong, he's like, man, that Peter Jackson one was like a beat-for-beat remake of it. And so I'm watching it now going, how much does it follow the original?
There's some filler.
Well, for sure there's some filler. This movie was 100% a love letter to the original.
Oh, yeah.
Because where 100%. It doesn't follow the original, it calls back to the original.
Yes.
We don't have Anne falling in love with the first mate. Now she's falling in love with this brand new writer character. He was not in the original. Yeah. But we have the same scene where she's talking to the first mate, and he's going, oh, I don't like women. Or you don't like women on ship? Well, they're a nuisance at best. But it's a scene in the movie that they're filming, and they've got another actor doing it. So there are so many callbacks. There's so much in this movie
she's sitting there watching them film the scene from the original movie.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you catch? At one point, Jack Black is going to the ship, and he's trying to find, well, who else can we get to play this part? And at one point, he says, Is Faye available?
Yes.
Oh no, she's doing a movie with RKO Pictures, you know, which was the original King Kong. You know,
yeah, no, I busted. My husband's like, "What?" I'm like, "Faye Ray." Oh, and then he laughed, but yeah, he was because it's kind of a throwaway line.
So this movie. I'm going to give my full thesis here because I've got 3 pages of notes about this movie. Lots of notes. I don't want this to run for 3 hours.
No, it doesn't need to be longer than the movie.
This does not need to be longer than the movie. In parts, every part of this movie, I would say, is quantitatively better than the original. The effects are better.
Well, because we've had more technology.
Absolutely. We are looking at almost a century.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just less than 10 years short of a century of improvement in movie technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
So absolutely the effects had better darn well be
and
better.
They were done by Weta Workshop, so
and this also represented a time when effects had kind of crossed a threshold that they had got, that we had realized how to make the effects work and not look really weird.
Yeah,
we got a couple of lucky shots.
Yeah,
before
we no longer are doing. We're not totally beholden to real life.
No, we can make the shots that we want now.
Actual props, actual monster suits, whatever.
Except that we also still, I feel like filmmaking at this time, and it goes back and forth on it, but does recognize when those practical shots make it better, And there were a couple of scenes where I couldn't tell if Anne was in did they build a gorilla hand
around her like they did in the original, or did
Obviously,
they digitize her into the hand?
And there were some shots that were clearly a digital copy, but there were some shots where I was like, if they had at least built a reference material for lighting, that would explain how it did so well, but I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Brilliant.
It was really, really good. So the effects were better than the original. Also, the story was deeper.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on for a second. I'm just talking about that. The part that we could, the element of the story is better in the new one because they went deeper, they explained things better, they explored things better. We had deeper characters, we had character motivations that made sense.
What is my motivation?
Yes. Well, and we had Anne was, I think, absolutely redeemed by this movie as a character.
Oh yeah.
She
was more than just the DID.
No, she definitely was not just the damsel in distress. I mean, she didn't get just taken accidentally while she was love on the side of the boat.
Yeah,
they had to rip her out and in the middle of a storm. It was rough.
Screaming and fighting
and she fought with the gorilla, and in the end, she kind of got super Stockholmed. In a very real way. I think we could highly describe her relationship with Kong as Stockholm to death. But
almost literally.
it's a deeper story. It's a fleshed out story. All of the elements that made this movie quantitatively were better than the original. However, the sum of those parts was an experience that I don't think was as good as the original.
I think part of it is because they did delve deeper, and this story didn't necessarily need to be deeper.
I agree with you. I think that one thing that I loved about the original King Kong movie was its economy and storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we are, like I said, a century removed from that original movie.
Absolutely.
So I don't blame Peter Jackson for being like, we got to dive into a little bit of what the Great Depression was for people, because nobody now knows.
Yeah, and more people nowadays want to be told, quote unquote, the story.
Yeah.
They want to know the hows, the whys, the wheres. But sometimes that doesn't always benefit the story.
And I don't think it's entirely. Now, let's keep in mind, this is Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah. He just fresh off of Lord of the Rings, hasn't done Hobbit yet.
Right. But remember the director's cut of Lord of the Rings? I think it was like
4.5 hours.
12 hours long for all three of the movies. Yeah. Like, Peter Jackson creates the content.
Oh, yeah. It's there.
And then when he went and did The Hobbit, which was a children's book, he had to stretch that sucker out into 9 hours of movie.
Yeah,
so,
thank you, New Line.
So the fact that this is a 3-hour movie fits with Peter Jackson's MO.
It does.
But I don't think that it helped this movie.
I don't think it needed it. There were points where I was like, okay, we got it.
I'll tell you those
can
points.
Move on.
The points for me where I was really missing the economy of the original is when this movie would do the spooky shot.
I know.
It would zoom in on something in slow motion with blur. I don't know, but it would zoom in on things in weird ways, and you'd get this weird music going.
It's like Doppler effect.
And this would go on. It probably only went on for like 15 seconds, but it felt like 15
like forever,
minutes.
And it happened a lot.
Especially in the first half of the movie. And when it like zoom in on the skulls and zoom in on this, and so, whenever it happened, I was like, remember how they speed ran the enemies to lovers in the original movie? Let's get back to that.
I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, did you pay your scenic artist so much that you want to highlight their work?
I mean, in some way, for a movie that was so CG heavy, I guess he was like, we need to show off the practical effects where we got them. But
yeah, but I mean, and it was beautiful. It really was beautiful.
It was.
But sometimes
I don't think that
it was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was not in the service of the story.
And it being blurred, and eventually, I'm glad that the second half didn't have it as much, because it was starting to give me a headache. Like, my eyes were trying to unblur it when there was no way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this movie is So the experience of watching this movie, the reason why I watched this movie today was because every time I told my family, hey, I got to sit down and watch this movie for the podcast, they'd pick up the back of the box, look at it and go, oh, but this is 3 hours long. We just don't have time for that. Like, this movie is a commitment. It's a relationship. It's not just a movie. It is a relationship that you have to get into.
The Lord of the Rings movies, even the theatrical releases, are almost that long. I mean, Casablanca and
at the same time,
Gone with the Wind.
You don't just sit down and go, I'm going to watch these movies. No. You clear your schedule for these movies, okay? And I have known people who have done Lord of the Rings watch parties where they just turn it on in the morning and then play board games all day.
We did it for we did the extended editions, director's cuts.
So like 12 hours of your life.
Oh, at least 12.
Yeah. And were you sitting in front of it the whole time? No.
My husband was.
Well, fine.
Anyway. But we were doing it for New Year's Eve.
Okay. Yeah, that's the time.
I got so tired. It was in the middle of Two Towers, and I told my husband, "Wake me up when the giant spider is dead." I knew her name was Shelob. I know the whole thing.
Yes.
Because for some reason, I thought it was like the books, and Shelob is killed at the end of Two Towers.
Yes.
Nope. Not, you don't meet Shelob until the last movie, unlike the books.
He rearranged a
little thing just for timeline consistency.
I'm sorry, I have to mention this, though, because we're not doing Lord of the Rings in this series. Why did he make 12 hours of movie and still no Tom Bombadil?
Because it didn't forward the plot.
I don't care. He was so amusing. I want my Bombadil in there. But that's all right.
I know. He's awesome. He actually, the reason why Tom Bombadil appears in those books is because he told all these stories about Tom Bombadil to his kids. Okay. And his kids wanted him in the book. So basically, it was his kids' fan fiction that got it self-inserted. There we go. Well, no. He would those were his bedtime. The Hobbit and the Bombadil stories were his bedtime stories. He would tell his children.
Well, that's what we need. We need a 9-hour Bombadil saga from Peter Jackson. I don't know.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, personally,
but that's why
fine.
There's no Tom Bombadil, because he doesn't further the story.
I agree with.
That's also why they cut out the Barrow Whites. Same reason.
Right. I understand the argument. I miss him. I enjoyed him in the book still. All right, so I don't know. I'm going to put my notes aside on this. Mm-hmm. If you say anything that I've got a note about, I'll say something about it. But what did you think of this movie?
Other than I thought it dug a little too deep, and it kind of dragged the anchor along for the storyline. I thought Jack Black was over the top in all the right ways, which is what he is good at.
This was before Jack Black was the force that he is now. This is before, I don't know if it was before all the Kung Fu Pandas, but it was definitely before this past couple of years of Jack Black.
He was known, but he wasn't the giant superstar that he is now.
And he wasn't the giant superstar for being silly and weird. No. I would have to look it up. Had he done what was his? Well, he had done School of Rock by now.
I think so.
What was the one that he did? Pick of Destiny. Had he done Pick of Destiny yet?
Know.
I don't know. So where
he had
this
his
lands
band,
in Pick
he had all of that, but he is. I mean, he's over the top. Like Jim Carrey's known for being over the top, but Jim Carrey is so over the top that you have to write the
Jim Carrey also has been doing more.
Oh, he does a lot of serious stuff too. Now. But when he goes over the top, he's so over the top. You have to write it for him.
Absolutely.
Which is what he's known for, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But Jack Black in this movie, he could pull it back.
Yep.
But when he was being the showman, quote unquote, he was so over the top that it was brilliant.
It's interesting to me that he played a different sort of Carl Denham.
Yes,
than
very,
we got
very different
in the original movie.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate that.
He was so neutral evil.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm not gonna challenge that. I'm gonna say I don't want to call him evil, but he really was. I like the line, and I think that this is a perfect line, where Adrian Brody's character,
who was much more sympathetic as a character.
Absolutely, he was the right guy to be the handsome lead, Mr. Handsome in this one. Although he's an odd Mr. Handsome, and I think that they made fun of that well enough in the movie because she shows up and she's like, "Oh, Carl, what was his name as a character? I can't remember. I'm going to keep calling him Adrian Brody." But she shows up and she mistakes the other guy for him.
Yeah.
And then she starts leaning over to Jack Black, to Denham, and going, man, he's so much more handsome than his pictures. Girl, that's a red flag. And he's trying to stop her. He's like, Anne, chill, Anne, please stop.
I loved that scene.
He's right behind me, isn't he? That was a good scene. It established the characters well.
It did.
And
it gave them a bit of humanity.
Right. We didn't have the enemies to lovers, but we did have the foot deep in your mouth to, all right, I kind of like you now.
It was we're establishing that he's not what most people of the 1930s would consider, quote unquote, the handsome lead.
Yeah, which the actor is not. I mean, he's not bad looking, but he's definitely not a handsome lead. Cut. And he really grew into that over the course of the story.
And it gave him room to grow as a character. It gave him room
to grow. We also got to see Jack Black's character. I don't know. Did he grow? Like, there was a moment when he was like, "Okay, I'm going to step up," but it was still in service to himself.
Yeah, it could have been a moment of redemption, but it was not altruistic at all. It was very much self-promoted.
The fact that he was sacrificing people's lives to capture King Kong when everybody else was saying, "Let's just get out of here," and he's like, "No." They did do the line where after capturing King Kong, he's like, "We'll be millionaires, boy. I'll share it with all of you," which is exactly out of the original.
Yes.
And in this case, like, that's his character. His character feels like he's doing the right thing. He thinks that he's doing the right thing.
But if you do the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Right. And I love that Adrian's character said, one thing that you'll know about Denham is that he destroys the things that he loves. And I'm like, ooh, way to sum up the character. Yeah. Wow. You're almost like a writer or something.
Oh, hey.
Actually, that's kind of clever because there's a writer writing the writer, being a writer.
That's very meta of you.
It's super meta. Like, it's 3 levels of meta right there because it did it well. So that was a good scene. I like that. What else?
I did like the fact that Anne wasn't the perfect beauty. You know, but she wasn't a stupid dingbat either.
One thing about this movie that kept coming up, and this is just, King Kong Escapes is over my head. It's over my entire life because half the time when King Kong would pick her up, I wanted her to go, "Put me down, Kong." Right. Like, it just seemed like the right thing to do. And there was a moment of her communicating with King Kong and teaching him beautiful by touching her chest, and then later on he did the same thing just before he dies. And Naomi Watts she's beautiful, and she was done up to be the classic beauty
1930s
in this.
Beauty, yeah.
And so I think she was fine as a beauty. I don't think that she was falling short in any regard.
She wasn't portrayed as the dumb blonde.
No.
She was, I mean, she had her foibles, the "he's standing right behind me, isn't he" moments.
Yes.
But she fought tooth and nail to stay on that boat.
Well, and she fought King Kong when he's like, she realizes this dude's going to snap my neck, and so she takes off the necklace and uses it like a weapon. The one thing that bugged me about that was immediately he drops her into the pile of bones with all the other girls who had had their naps snapped. Yeah, well,
neck snapped.
Neck snapped. And she didn't grab one of their necklaces. Like, reload, girl!
Use the sharp bone, something.
Yeah, she already did to get out.
Yeah.
But then it was stuck in his hand, so
grab something else.
Reload! Oh, I didn't realize. I'm looking at the cast of characters. The young man who gets the chain snapping his face at the end. That's Colin Hanks. That's Tom Hanks' son.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see? Learned something new.
Yeah. So, really cool. Also, Andy Serkis did the motion capture for
He's the king of
Kong.
mocap.
He is the king of mocap. He does so much of it.
And he and Peter Jackson work really well together.
They do. So good cast of characters. And yeah, no, you're right. She is not just. She's
not just there to look pretty and be safe.
And when she started, after the T-Rex fight. Okay, we got to mention the T-Rex fight.
Which was cool.
Talk about stepping up.
Yeah, the game.
The game.
A little longer than it needed to be, but so cool.
But how did they step up the game? Because we're not just going to fight T-Rex.
No.
We're not just going to fight 2 T-Rexes. No. We're going to fight 3 up in the air while tangled in vines. And all of these T-Rexes are really into eating this tender little morsel of Anne here.
Yes.
Like, guys,
I mean,
not worth it.
Has she
is there
got
nothing
some
else
kind
to
of
eat?
perfume on that just is
She's
eat
got
me, please?
Eau de bacon on her. I don't know.
Right.
But boy, they were fighting, and it was a heck of a fight. And this is the moment. It wasn't until this moment. We talked a lot about how kaijus need character.
Yeah.
The original King Kong had character from the
get-go.
moment he
Yeah.
stepped onto the screen, which was only about like 40 minutes into the movie.
Is that all? Halfway
and
through.
It took him more than an hour to get to King Kong in this movie. But no, it was possibly even less than that. But still, he had character from the beginning. I don't think this King Kong showed character until the T-Rex fight.
Yeah. And he became protective rather than predator.
Exactly. And at that point, he started to have character. And at that point, she started to go, like when the T-Rex is staring down King Kong and she's between them and she starts moving towards King Kong for protection.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, that's the moment when she got full on Stockholmed. Because she's like,
do I choose these three or that?
At that point,
I might be able to
one.
reason with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still.
Yeah.
Do I choose the reptile who will definitely eat me or the King Kong who might eat me?
Who only tried to snap my neck casually. So, you know.
Because that's what all the other girls do.
Yeah. And at that moment, King Kong started to show some character. Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional because there were other scenes. Whenever the army was showing up, whenever he was in fight mode and stuff like that, his character went away.
Yeah, he went into berserker mode.
Right, but then whenever Anne is kind of being softer towards him, he has more character. I can't tell if that was intentional.
If it was intentional,
or if it just
saying
happened.
He's in berserk mode and then he's calm and,
or if they're trying to show the two different perceptions of him, because according to everybody else, he's just a wild animal, but according to Anne, she's her big hairy boyfriend. I'm not quite sure how she felt about that.
I almost saw it as, and of course this movie came much later. I saw it in the Avengers movie when Black Widow, quote unquote, sings a lullaby to Hulk to get him to calm down.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, because I've seen Avengers since then, it's kind of an idea I got off of it, and I wonder if Avengers might have taken it from a King Kong standpoint, where you have the beauty who can be soft and calm them down.
I mean, that is the story, is beauty killed the beast and all that. I love that when they were capturing Kong, they took chloroform and they threw it at his feet, and then they were like trying to drag him down into the chloroform.
I thought that was, what?
No, but that makes perfect sense, especially, once again, King Kong escapes, when they try to chloroform him and he's 60 feet tall,
in the air,
and they're just bombing him on the ground and expecting it to reach him.
It doesn't.
In this case, that was realistic, and what eventually took him down was taking the chloroform and smashing it directly in his face.
Which is what I thought they should have done to begin with.
Yeah,
but at the same point, I understood.
It was a hard toss. Come on.
It was a tough toss. But I also thought, okay, if they're dragging him down, when he conks out, then he won't be crash landing and he won't get hurt.
That was the other thing. When they knocked him out, he was in the water, and I was like, if he face plants right into there and drowns in 3 inches of water, you guys are going to feel so dumb for the 17 of you that died trying to get him in. Yeah,
I was just like,
he was fine.
When he said, I'm going to share it, the millions, and I'm going to share it with all of you, I thought, that's why you made sure more people died.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want
bigger
to share
cut
it
for
much.
the rest of us. Yeah, really, really big of you, buddy.
But yeah, he came across as so neutral evil.
So how
neutral evil.
How did you think about King Kong's rampage through New York?
It was interesting. I loved the way they showed the 1930s New York.
For sure.
The skyline was very well researched.
Yeah. And the scale, when he's climbing the Empire State Building, he's not like hanging off of it like in the movie posters. Like, he's sitting in a corner. He's only 25 feet tall in this one. He's not 80 feet tall or 60 feet tall like other Kongs.
Yeah.
For sure, in the original King Kong, there was a problem with scale.
Yeah.
And this one was very true to the scale, but part of the result of that is that he had to climb higher on the tower to be able to hang off of the antenna, and then he immediately rips off the antenna and throws it away.
Which made more sense,
yes,
honestly. I was like, that is not strong enough to hold that giant monkey.
Although, he should have held on to it. He needed a projectile, but he didn't know that
Skewer. Get those planes!
They did not have. So in the original one, King Kong takes down an L train, and that is a great scene. In this one, he takes down a trolley car, and it's less interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it was okay, but it was great.
It was accurate to the area of where they had him, but at the same time.
Yeah, the L train was a better scene. Then we also have the scene where he's sliding on the ice with Anne, and we get to see him laugh and be happy for a moment. And then the army blows it up and ruins all of that. You know, it was a good thing. I thought that scene was a good addition.
Yeah, it was nice. It didn't really need the explosions, but
for sure. But I will say overall, okay. I'm thinking about the ranking of this movie. Before I watched it today, I thought this movie was going to be competing for the number 2 spot. Either this was going to be better than the original King Kong, meaning I had to put it higher on the list, or it was going to be immediately below it. But here's the thing. I didn't enjoy this movie as much. It wasn't bad.
No. It was good, but fine. It wasn't fantastic.
It wasn't fun.
Which is why it didn't do as well in the box office as I thought it would.
Yeah, I remember watching it, and I remember watching it at the time, but it's also not a movie that, like I said, trying to rewatch it with my family, all of them were like, so I don't know if I want to spend 3 hours watching this movie. This movie is a commitment.
It is.
For that commitment,
and are you willing to give it to that movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Lord of the Rings, people are willing to give that commitment.
Because it feels good.
Or Cleopatra, or Gone with the Wind.
You're willing to watch Cleopatra. I've watched Gone with the Wind through once, and I don't know if I want to watch that one.
My soul is broken.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's an epic. I have watched Ben-Hur.
Okay, you're forgiven.
I've watched Ben-Hur. I've watched Gone with the Wind, and I've watched this. But
10 Commandments?
10 Commandments. I did watch 10 Commandments.
See, back then people knew what a great intermission was for.
Yeah, for sure. This movie needed an intermission. This movie needed 2 parts. Yeah. I feel like if this movie had been broken up into 2 parts.
But where would you have broken it up at?
Yeah, good question. It would have to be when he is taken from Skull Island and it ends with, King Kong, the 8th wonder of the world, and then fade out and then fade in and extend the New York scene for a little bit. Peter Jackson can extend runtime. He's really good at that. So
whether he wants to be or not, sometimes.
Wants to be or not. Still, I feel like there might be a cut of this movie. If somebody took the original King Kong and
did the good
redid
parts?
The beats with the new shots, with the new movie, just made the new movie the exact same as the old movie for the beats, and just cut out all of we did not need that bug scene.
No.
Cut that right out. They did do the log scene. That was cool. But we didn't need the bugs at the bottom. Like, there's so much of this movie that we could cut this out and make a much more condensed movie. But the problem is I still don't know that it would make me feel good. And I like movies that make me feel good. The reason why the original 1954 Godzilla is so far down on my list is because it didn't make me feel good. And I feel like this one is going to fall way down on the list because the original King Kong made me feel good. Yeah, you were sad at the end for the monkey, but you enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
I didn't as much enjoy this ride.
It was almost like they were trying too hard.
Yeah. Well, let's put this one on the ranking.
Ranking.
Yeah, ranking list. I feel like we've got A tier, B tier, and D tier on here. We've got the mid range, and this one for me, I'm eyeing the mid range. So it's below the original Godzilla, which is sitting at number 4 on my list.
It's number 2 on mine.
It's number 2 on yours. And below that is Pacific Rim. Now, I am not going to put this movie above Pacific Rim because Pacific Rim was a frolic.
It was hilariously fun.
Okay, Godzilla 1989. Ferris Bueller's Godzilla. You know what? I think it's fair for Ferris Bueller's Godzilla and Jack Black's King Kong to be fighting it out. But I may be weird for this one, but I kind of enjoyed the 1989 Godzilla a lot more than this one.
I was actually going to put it right underneath, for mine, under the 89 Godzilla and above
before
Rodan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good place. In fact, you know what? I enjoyed Terror of Mechagodzilla more. Mothra versus Godzilla is one that I again can't remember what happened in it. Although I do like the twins. Yep, they're great. But do I want to put this below it and have it be just above Gamera 1995? God, that feels like a slap in the face to it.
It's true.
It doesn't deserve that. You know what? I'm going to put it just above. So Terror of Mechagodzilla is going just above this one.
Okay.
And Mothra is going just below it. Mothra versus Godzilla is going just below it. I'm not 100% sold on that. I want it to be higher because it was such a love letter to the original. Even the opening and closing titles.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, it was brilliant.
So much of it felt like
you turn it on, you're like, I'm in a 1930s. You had the little flecks that you see on the
film
grain and everything.
It deserves to be better.
Yeah, it was. But
and if it were an hour shorter, it would be much higher on my list.
Yeah.
But where it is right now, I think it's solidly middle tier for me.
Hate it.
No,
I mean it's way above Cloverfield. Way above Cloverfield.
but that's high jumping the limbo bar. You know, that's
right. It's like, but that's not a high bar.
No, it's ended up thoroughly mid tier. Even though the individual parts were probably better
really
than the original,
but the sum of its parts did not total. Which is weird, but hey, that's the way it happens sometimes. So that's where it lands on our rankings. And what are we going to do next week? So we have Godzilla.
We have the original not the original.
The opener to the MonsterVerse.
The beginning of the MonsterVerse Godzilla. I actually did start watching this one before I realized, wait a second, wasn't there that King Kong movie?
Yeah, you gave me that. You sent me that email, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
And so I'm glad that we went back and did that one. Although technically this movie, so we actually watched a couple of movies that came out after this one because it was King Kong back in 2014, then Cloverfield, then Pacific Rim. So this episode should have been like 2 times ago, but that's all right. We are going to start with the MonsterVerse Godzilla.
And doesn't Shin Godzilla come in right around there too?
Shin Godzilla right afterwards. One thing that I thought was interesting about this first Godzilla, and I've only watched a little bit of it, and I need to watch the whole thing.
Yes,
but
you do.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Is this movie really, really dark?
Yeah.
Like, need to turn up the saturation on it because I could not see a darn thing. Is it my eyes? Am I just getting old? No,
it is a little. They did a little bit of nickeling to the shots.
I think that this was just the era that it was made in. So turn up the brightness and let's watch.
Except when Godzilla powers up, because man, it shows you that he's got a nuclear breath because those spines on his back start to light up and they glow.
If I remember, a lot of movies at the time were doing this. Though.
A lot of nickeling. Yeah, they were trying to harken back to the 1930s. Where they had nickel on the back of the
Is that
film.
why they call it that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had nickel on the back of the film to strengthen it, and it always gave it kind of a dark silver tone to it.
Interesting.
So I know that Mel Gibson did a movie all nickeled, and so they were playing with the nickeling look to give it a more darker tone.
So unfortunately, this next movie that we're doing came out in a dark time in cinema.
Dun-dun-dun.
Dun-dun-dun. But we'll turn up the brightness. We'll watch the first Godzilla, the beginning of the MonsterVerse, a movie with some interesting history, but it's an interesting movie. I don't know.
You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't sat down and watched it. Well, I watched it once, but it's been a while, so we will recap the original Godzilla next time. So that is it for this episode of the Shelf Examination Podcast. If you enjoy our little conversations, we'd love for you to engage with this in all the ways that makes the AIs happy. Like, comment, leave a review, whatever.
Play to the algorithms.
And then we're going to call that it. So thank you guys very much for listening. I've been Joe.
And I'm still Sarah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And we invite you to do some shelf examination of your own at your local library.